I was texting in the bathroom stall. Also, I was crying. I was texting and crying. Those are the two things I do most often in the bathroom stall, besides those two other things. But I was texting and crying in the bathroom, texting and crying, texting and crying. I had started crying moments before in the Lincoln Room of the Chicago History Museum. This was 5 days ago. I was at the Chicago History Museum to watch a story slam at the Moth, the world's most popular storytelling series at the moment. I had been looking to just watch. I'm still a relatively new storyteller, and the Moth intimidated me, truth be told. But lo and behold, they were looking for regular Joes to sign up and tell a story. Anybody can tell a story, right? I asked the girl behind the table. Yeah, sure, some people are professionals and they've competed before and they've won and they've gone on to the Grand Slam and they've been featured on NPR, but some people are brand new. She says this brightly dressed in her Chicago History Museum finery. This was a special event, a story slam commemorating the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire, so we all got fancy for it. I just didn't want to be the one storyteller that burnt to the ground in front of 300 people. I'm not sure if I felt like Mrs. O'Leary, the cow, or the lantern, but I just mostly didn't want to look too stupid. You'll be fine, said the girl behind the counter. So after a lot of hemming and hawing, I put my name in the hat. I walked away from the table kicking myself. I'm not ready for this. I don't have a story. I don't have the experience. I still feel like a kid right out of college, not like a real performer. And I don't even have a story in mind. I have specific stand-up material, and I have snippets from an even more specific one-woman show about a girl dating Jesus. Is that Moth appropriate? So I went and found my seat. I was attending the event alone. I attend a lot of events alone, or I guess I don't let being alone stop me from attending events. If I want to go to a show and none of my friends or Facebook acquaintances jump at the chance, I'll just go anyway. I used to be terrible at going to things alone. I was always so scared that everyone would stare at me, the dumb Dumbo dummy by herself. But man, who cares about what other people think? And most of the time, strangers are not obsessed with me. But the more I thought about it, I wanted to walk back to the nice girl at the table and take my name out of the hat. Excuse me, I'd say. I was wrong. I didn't mean to sign up and sign the release and give my email and my phone number and my name and my address. It was an accident. But that would be surrendering to fear. But then I could just relax. And yeah, it would be like, keeping the ship in port, and that's not what ships are for. I get it. But maybe I'll just walk up and go over there and just pick my name right out of that basket. And then before I could take another step, my phone rings. My heart leaps into my mouth. I had been distracted by all this storytelling business, and I had forgotten what was really happening. I had forgotten for the news that I was waiting for. I was still in the Lincoln Room, my favorite room in the museum, nay, in all of Chicago. A place that I kind of want to get married in. Shh, don't tell my future husband. Don't tell him that on the first date, Eileen. My hands are shaking, and I try to find a corner to check my email in so that I can look at this news by myself. And I found myself hovering next to Lincoln's deathbed, behind glass, looking alarmingly small for a man of his stature. I put my hand up against the glass, Titanic style, and I opened the email. It was from my mother. Subject line, "He's here." Tears streamed down my face as I scrolled down to see the first picture of my first nephew, Tommy Tull, born an hour earlier. I started weeping, open mouth sobbing, ugly crying, whatever you want to call it, I was doing it. I became painfully aware of where I was standing, which was right in front of Lincoln's deathbed. So So I was aware of how strange I may have looked. A young woman in the year 2014, sobbing hysterically at the foot of Lincoln's deathbed. So I about-faced and bolted to the bathroom, where I skipped into a stall, locked the door, and prayed for the first time in years for the safety of this beautiful little boy, delivered via emergency C-section 2 weeks early. I texted my mom, "He's beautiful." Those 2 words sending me into further fits of sob. A few moments passed. I breathed, and I breathed. And then I was finally able to walk out of the stall, check my face in the mirror, and take my seat again. I was in a state of catatonic bliss. An aunt. There was a person whose life is in some way in my hands now. Like I was an adult or something. Like I was a functioning grown-up person. The moth storyteller swept by, my ecstatic state clouding my senses, until towards the end of the evening, "Eileen Tull," I'm called. Oh crap. As I walked up to the stage, still no story in my head, all of my emotions rushing together, I racked my brain for ideas and wondered if I could just walk up to the mic and say, "No, thank you." And then I thought of Tommy. So I walked up to the mic and I said, "Hey everyone, this has nothing to do with the story that I'm about to tell, but guess what happened to me today?" And the 300 people said, "What?" And I said, "My nephew was born today." And the first people that I was able to tell, the first people I was able to share this historic moment of my life with, all 300 of these strangers applauded wildly. "So that was Tommy Tull's first applause," I said. "But it was kind of for me." And they laughed, and then they were mine. And I told my story, a story about how I ran into a building when I was 16 in a car, and I killed it, and they loved it. And the applause was like heaven, as applause always is. And it felt great to go up there with kind of no confidence and no plan, and to deliver. And my nephew is the cutest baby that's ever been born. Ever. Like ever. Seriously. I can show you pictures after. I have like 20 of them on my phone. So, thank you guys so much.